Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 1 of the Mount Moon Review podcast, for your source for all things Pokemon, with myself, Raz, and to that side, we got Gold Duck, Blue Duck, bringing you all the Pokemon information that is currently out there. We may delve into spoiler territory. If so, you will have plenty of warning. A little bit about what makes us the foremost experts on all things Pokemon today. Both Jeremy and I are judges for the Pokemon Company International, as well as tournament organizers and league leaders. And we've been collectively involved in Pokemon for what? How many years now, Jeremy? How about you? How many years have you been involved in competitive Pokemon play?
I started TCG competitive play in 2015.
2015. Okay, I started myself about 2 years ago at this point, so not as long as you have. So you are by far the foremost expert. So, what are some things you want to cover today, Jeremy?
So I think the most prevalent news that has recently come out is the Pokemon Masters trailer that just dropped like 2 days ago.
Yeah, that was. At first, I thought it was a movie. To be perfectly honest, when it first came out, I thought it was a movie. It didn't look to me like a game trailer at all.
Right, you didn't get any gameplay until like the very end. But I wish they would animate the anime like that more often.
So for those of you that are watching this recording of the podcast on Twitch right now, I do have to issue a quick apology. I've just been informed by one of our moderators we had a bit of an issue with the audio on that, with the Pokemon Masters trailer. It was actually supposed to be muted. It wasn't supposed to be playing through there, so I apologize for that. So Pokemon Masters, that's due out this summer at some point. I mean, it's a pretty quick announcement right into them releasing the game.
Yeah, and the direct, they said it was going to come in this year, and I was picturing it was like as coming out in December or something.
Yeah, I mean, with Pokemon Direct, which I typically love the Pokemon press conferences, but that conference was painful. The Pokemon Direct conference was painful. And I think they missed a great opportunity having that humongous Pokeball on the end of the stage, and not having it open up and have people come on stage to the Pokeball. Missed opportunity.
That awesome.
Huge missed opportunity. But yeah, I think it was that trailer was actually pretty painful to watch. It came off like very much like a Japanese business proposal. It didn't come off like this hype for these new games that are coming out, which we heard about a lot of different things coming out, including Pokemon Masters. But we heard of the new incarnation, of the Pokemon Bank, which is now the I forgot the bloody name. The mobile platform for all your Pokemon. I can't remember the bloody name. I can't remember.
Home.
Pokemon Home. There you go. My apologies. Pokemon Home. I personally use Pokemon Bank. I'm hoping Pokemon Home has some features that let you interact as opposed to just being storage. I mean, do you use Pokemon Bank currently for your VGC stuff?
A while ago I transferred everything from Pokemon, like from all the other old games, up into Pokemon Bank, so I could put them in Ultrasound. I don't like having them up on those servers in case something happens and then I lose.
Yeah, I can see that. I do have my core set I've transferred into my Ultra Moon, but I didn't actually. Most of the stuff still sits on Pokemon Bank, unfortunately. But now that you say that, I might have to go and reevaluate that strategy.
Well, I actually lost one Pokemon Bank account when I switched DSs.
Ow.
So, yeah, not too much was on there, but after that, I decided to never post anything.
Yeah. I'm kind of hoping it has some interactive aspects to it. I kind of remember for the Dreamcast there was a Sonic game that had the Chows and they had the Chow Garden.
Yeah.
Kind of hoping maybe something along that nature for Pokemon Home, but
like some way to interact with your Pokemon.
Yeah, just
that'd be cool.
Some way to interact. I know we're going to be able to move stuff between Pokemon Go, Pokemon Let's Go, and Sword and Shield and everything else for that matter. I'm just really hoping it's not just a storage. Give me
Yeah,
something.
it looks
If I'm gonna have this on my phone, I want to be able to sit in like a doctor's waiting room and play with it. That's what I want.
looks like you're at least going to be able to trade
Hmm.
with players live, and maybe even back.
Yeah, it's we're hoping we can cross our fingers on that. Pokemon doesn't typically disappoint with their games.
Yeah, we'll find out in a couple months.
Yeah, I'm hoping the price point's something reasonable though. With Pokemon Bank, we had a $5. So we're kind of hoping that maybe it stays along that line. I mean, I might be willing to, if it has some interactive abilities to it, maybe I'd be willing to pay a monthly subscription of $1 or $2. But it's a mobile platform, which just happens to have a storage aspect to it. So hopefully it's not something they're gonna try to price gouge us with. But typically Nintendo as a whole does not have the philosophy of price gouging its customers.
Yeah, I'd be willing to pay like $5 a month.
$5 a month?
Yeah.
It better be a good game. Okay, so what do you want to talk about next?
So next, I want to go over some of the Sword and Shield leaks. Now, this isn't every leak out there on the internet. This is stuff posted by one particular user who has seemed to have a little bit of credibility.
All right, so just so everyone's aware, there could possibly be some spoilers involved.
Yeah, we're going to try not to talk about anything that would spoil anything in the story, but this would just be like gameplay mechanics and like new Pokemon forms and stuff like that.
Okay, so what have you dug up? I know you've sent me some stuff to look over, but
all right. So this is posted by an anonymous user. It was posted on May 23rd, about 2 weeks before the Direct. And in his post, he said, your rival is going to be named Hop, and you'll also be facing against Betty and Maureen.
Okay.
And we know that in the Direct, the rival's name was Hop. So he either guessed that or he had some inside information. And another big thing he said is Dynamaxing is going to be in the game.
So
2 weeks before the Direct, before E3, where they revealed the Dynamax.
And he's had a track record of coming up with these leaks before from previous games as well, correct?
As far as I know, this is the first thing he's posted. It doesn't seem like any of the same people that were posting in Sun and Moon.
Okay. So what else we got there? So we got some character names, if nothing else, and he knew about the Dynamaxing. So what else has he laid upon us?
Let's see.
I do have the spoiler tag up, so if you happen to mention something.
So he mentioned Sonia and Leon are also two character names we got.
All right, so we got the names, but I'm looking over the list right now, and I'm seeing something, and I'm gonna say it. We got a new evolution for a Pokemon that's never had an evolution before.
Talking about Surfetch'd.
Surfetch. Farfetch is going to get its own regional evolution, similar. So, but he specifically says regional evolutions. So that's telling me that we're getting something similar to what we have with the Alolan forms.
Yeah.
So we're going to have these European forms, I guess, because there's going to be a whole new region, nowhere we've been before, and it does have like a Northern Ireland type feel to it. Yeah, but Farfetch is apparently getting an evolution. They're going to call it Surfetched. And there's also apparently another version of Meowth coming out. Yet another version of Meowth.
Right. It's kind of ironic that they would do Meowth in Alola and in the Galar region. But maybe it's going to be like a thing where people just love Meowth and they carry it around everywhere.
Yeah, I mean the only thing we really saw with Meowth is what the character's mother had the Kanto version, and another character had the Alolan version some point in the game, but really it wasn't like a focus of the game or anything like that.
Some other things in a later leak, this guy posted that the Galar Pokédex is going to be 96 new Pokemon, plus 19 Galar variants and 14 Gigantamax.
So
Gigantamaxing is when we Dynamax certain Pokemon, they change forms, similar to Mega Evolution.
see, it sounds a lot like Mega Evolution, but in kaiju form.
Exactly. And speaking of kaiju, this is actually pretty nuts. This dude, same guy. Well, we assume it's the same guy. It's an anonymous user, so somebody could have just recreated his, his profile, the way his profile looks on
Right.
Reddit. But
No, nobody on Reddit would do such a thing.
it looks super close to it's same picture, same thumbnail, same everything. He says that Charizard, Flygon, Tyranitar, Hydreigon, and Volcarona are all going to receive Godzilla-inspired Gigantamax.
So we're gonna have Pokemon kaiju battles now.
Basically. And at E3, somebody who worked on the Godzilla movie comes out on stage and talks about his new position at Game.
So yeah, we're definitely getting. In Tyrantar, I'm sorry, I just call him Reptar. I watched
Godzilla.
I watched Rugrats growing up. He's Reptar, man. He is Reptar through and through. So, but yeah, so apparently we're getting kaiju battles now, which I'm open to it. I'm kind of curious how in a world where you have to let's just be honest, you have to suspend a lot of disbelief to get into Pokemon, but these gigantic beasts are now fighting out in the field, and everyone's like, "Oh, look, no, it's just a Pokemon battle. Don't worry about it. They'll shrink down when they're done."
Yeah, I was a little opposed to what was it, Dynamaxing when it was first revealed, but then I thought about it, like, what happens when Charizard and Tyranitar Dynamax and they fight each other? That's gonna be sick. And now if they're more from
lost you a little bit there. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a different aspect and something. I think it's going to be the gameplay is going to be visually it's going to be very different. But just from the way everyone's talking, it almost sounds like we're going to be back to Mega Evolutions again, because it's going to be a short time. It's not going to be permanent, and it's going to be something you can pull out as like a last dish type move.
Right.
So it seems a lot like I said, Mega Evolutions again.
It's like a combination of Mega Evolution and Z moves, because it only lasts 3 turns.
Yeah.
And then all your moves are different. So like all the rock type moves are going to be the same move.
Okay. That's
like Megaton Pressed or whatever.
That's definitely something. The Sword and Shield trailer, we've had 2 trailers that dropped. We had the one teaser trailer that was the 2 new faces of the game, the Sword and the Shield. What do we know about them so far? Do we know much from everything you've been digging up?
Nope, they haven't done any reveals on like what Pokemon are going to be exclusive to the games, other than Zacian and Zom and Zenta or whatever the Shield Pokemon called. So the leaker though has posted that the 3rd legendary will be called Eternatus or Eternatus, something like that.
Yeah, you see, a lot of times when I'm playing the games, every time you catch a Pokemon, you get asked, "Do you want to give your Pokemon a nickname?" And I always say no, because I have a hard time trying to keep track of them all. But in this, I can't pronounce them anyway, so.
Right.
It's one of those deals where I can't pronounce the bloody names anyhow, so why not just name them something different and try to keep track of them that way. There's a couple guys at the league that maybe if Pokemon fits their personality, I'll change the name just so I can keep track of them.
So I didn't used to nickname my Pokemon, but now I ever since I started playing Nuzlocke, I pretty much nickname everything.
Yeah, I do it. I don't do it just so I can keep track of stuff in my Pokedex. That's pretty much it. What we're seeing right here on the screen right now, for those of you in the video version of the podcast, we're seeing the trailer for Pokemon Sword and Shield, and we have some information about the 3 new starter types. And I don't know about y'all, but I want a Score Bunny.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably actually leaning towards Sobble if these leaks are true. So this is the same anonymous guy that we've been talking about all episode. He says Scorbunny will have fighting moves, but it's pure. I'm pretty sure it's pure fire. It becomes Raboot, and it looks like a fighter, and it's like humanoid.
I can't deal with the Grookey. I'm not dealing with no more monkey Pokemon.
I actually think Grookey has the best design. I just don't think I like the concept. Like if what people are thinking is groovy monkey, and it's going to be based on music. That doesn't really interest me much.
Yeah.
But I like the way Grookey looks the best. And according to the anonymous guy, Grookey is going to become a giant gorilla that
with a
beats
drum.
a wooden drum.
Yeah. Which that harkens back to a lot of Japanese lore, which they bring into Pokemon games. They don't overtly like beat you over the head with it. It's one of those things where if you know about the story, you understand like, oh, that's what this is. Like the most easiest example is Magikarp and Gyarados. There's Japanese folklore that feeds into these, and there's a lot of that feeds into all the Pokemon if you know how to look for it. So, but they don't beat you over the head with it. It's just one of those like neat little Easter eggs. When you find it out, it's just really nice information to have, and it helps you appreciate the work that goes into these games even more.
So we didn't go over Sobble yet, but Sobble is apparently going to become a chameleon-themed spy. Called Inteleon.
Okay.
Seems pretty neat.
So, what's your opinion? Do you think that so we know the game comes out at the end of this year, before the end of the year. So I'm gonna guess mid-November because that's a very hot time to release new titles. Do we have any clue or not whether this is going to take over in the VGC format?
So when they do other games, they kept X and Y in till like mid-year, I believe.
So we're looking at possibly sometime in 2020 switching over from Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon into Sword and Shield on the Switch.
Right. Oh, and if I remember correctly, it stayed X and Y until like January. So it might they give people time after the game, a couple months after the game comes out to make competitive teams, and then they switch. So part of the year for championship points was X and Y, and then the later part of the year was Sun and Moon with a completely new format and legal Pokemon.
Okay. Well, I don't personally play in the VGC. I'm not even a judge in the VGC. But I do very much want to get a print to hang on my wall that says Father of the Year, has a Ditto sitting on the couch with like 100 mugs that say Father of the Year. So in the current format, when we're using the 3DS, 2DS for Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, you need a Ditto. The only way you're going to get a competitive team is through breeding, and the easiest way to do that is with Ditto. One of the big things we're hearing about with Sword and Shield is we no longer have a national Pokedex. So,
yeah, I mean, they could always put Ditto in.
Could, but without the national Pokedex and we can't bring a Ditto in, if there's no Ditto native to the game, what's that going to do to the competitive VGC players that rely on that particular Pokemon to breed their perfect team?
Well, I would argue that most of the competitive players don't breed their Pokemon. Kind of like an accepted thing that you just hack your Pokemon in.
Yeah. It's that's part of the reason I don't particularly get into the VGC, because I am very much a stickler for the rules when it comes to Pokemon. You've been to some of my events, you know that I very much, stick to the rules that are written in black and white from the Pokemon Company. But when it comes to the VGC, it does seem as though there's a lot of, just don't be overt about it. Wink.
Pretty much. They have hack checks that will check and see if a Pokemon's stats are possible. And if they are, then it passes the hack check. They can't tell if the Pokemon was generated into the game or not. And they also make a rule where if you breed with a hacked Pokemon, then all its offspring are hacked. So even if you hacked in your 6IV Ditto, and then you just use that to breed and generate like legitimate Pokemon through breeding, they're all still considered hacked.
Yeah, and
it's just accepted. Like nobody's gonna tell you. People openly talk about hacking their Pokemon at tournaments. I've been to regionals where with some of the VGC players are like, oh man, I gotta switch this Pokemon. They pull out their laptop.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like it literally happened 10 feet away from me in a food court at a regional. Nobody cares.
You're a judge. You are a certified judge.
This was in 2015. I was not a judge.
Okay.
This was at nationals in 2015. I didn't even have championship points yet.
Oh my God, that'd be like somebody in the TCG pulling out a printer and just saying, "I'm going to make some proxies," and getting away with it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I am not transferring all my Pokemon into Sword and Shield because, I started with a 6IV Shiny Ditto from Japan, right? That somebody gave to me on Reddit, and I can only assume it's hacked, which means all my competitive Pokemon.
Yeah, that's...
so I'm not going to transfer any of those. I have some sentimental Pokemon that I've,
Yeah, how many Charizards you have?
I have 5 Shiny Charizards.
5?
And probably a whole box full of Charmanders.
For anybody who's not aware, Jeremy does have quite the obsession with Charizard.
Yeah, Charizard's my fave.
I love the plushie you got in your backpack, old Dirty Dan.
Oh, Dirty Dan. He's been in there since 2015 Nationals.
Okay, well, we're talking about Nationals then. So how about we talk a little bit about what happened at the North American International Championships?
So, to those of you that don't know, in the top 4 match with Nathaniel... Ooh, I don't remember his last...
Just call him Nathaniel. We'll get to it.
So Nathaniel is a newer player. I don't know if he's on any of the big teams or anything.
I don't think he's on a team. From what I can...
His history in TCG championships, he only has one other record other than being in top 4 at North American Internationals, and that was at the I think it's the Origin Special event.
Okay.
A couple ago, he got top 6 with Baby Blacephalon, and so he was playing in top 4, and I guess the judges were being very, he had made a mistake and picked up a card a supporter that he played, and put it back in his hand on accident.
Right. Now,
whatever.
It's important. I think it's important to say this is an international, so that is a tier 2 violation. But
right, and they gave him a warning.
They gave him a warning, but it's easily reversible. And so it did not destroy the game state. He was able to reverse the problem, and then he was issued a warning. There's some debate whether a warning would have been appropriate or it could have been escalated. But that is ultimately that judge's decision to make. It's not written in stone. The judges in the TCG have a lot of leeway. There's guidance. There's no hard set, this is what must happen, because there is so many different problems can pop up on any level, whether it be league play, league challenge, league cup, regionals, internationals, worlds. Doesn't matter how long you've been a judge. At some point, easily, you're going to look and say, I don't know what to do here. Because you're going to encounter new cards all the time. They're going to have different effects, different abilities, and new mistakes are always going to happen. So I have no problem with the first call whatsoever. If they...
Right, and it doesn't seem like, he looked innocent enough. I don't know for sure, but it looked like it was an honest mistake. He just accidentally picked a card up.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
in his hand, and
I've done it.
he had no advantage because of it. He just put it in the discard pile and you move on.
Yeah. No big deal.
Now, I could see them being worse penalties to, you know, because of it being top 4 at an international, but, you know, they didn't because it wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah, and it's a judgment call, so that's fine, and we move on. Then something else happens.
Yeah, so he plays. It's the end of the game. He's got like 15 cards left in his. He's got 1 prize remaining. His opponent he's playing Baby Blacephalon with 1 prize remaining. His opponent is playing Pikarom with 3 prizes remaining, and has 1 knockout on board.
Okay.
Like on his opponent's next turn, he's taking a knockout, guaranteed. So he plays Nest Ball, searches his deck, and fails it. Shuffles his deck. He was just, he had a Fiery Flint in hand. I'm sure he was just checking to double check, make sure he didn't have any energy in deck. So he shuffles his deck,
which is standard. A lot of people do that. He probably 100% knew he was going to fail the Nest Ball, but there's no way.
Just using it for research.
Yep, he's just using it to do some research.
Shuffles his deck, for about 10 seconds. Places it down. The judge picks it up, and then this whole dispute starts happening. And according to what Nathaniel posted on Facebook, he said that the judge was telling him that he knew for sure that the bottom card did not change, and then they started giving him a penalty for insufficient randomization,
which wouldn't even be the correct penalty, because if he was ensuring that a particular card was on the bottom, he was stacking his deck. That wasn't even insufficient. That was straight up. That'd be a straight up cheating done.
Right, and they weren't saying that he intentionally put the card on the bottom. They were just saying that, we know you didn't shuffle well enough because this card did not change.
Right. Now, his argument was, first off, that that could very well be possible. If you're shuffling your deck, it's statistically it could happen. So that's one thing.
And that's what randomization is. The same card could end up
on
the bottom.
I mean, I don't know how many times I've played a Cynthia, shuffled my hand in, and pulled almost the exact same bloody hand. It drives me bloody insane. But it's a possibility. It can happen. Doesn't seem as though that is what happened in this case. Now, I know you, for example, went through and watched the video again, and we have some images here.
Right. So, these are taken from my Android, so it's not the best quality, and it's on the TV screen.
Right. So you're taking a picture of a picture of a picture. We got it.
Right,
but
exactly.
So prior to the shuffle, when he's still doing his little research, you can see there the bottom card in that deck is a full art welder.
Yes.
Then when he's getting ready to put the deck back on the table,
this is like 10 seconds later after he shuffled. You can see he turns his deck towards the camera, not even, knowing that this was going to be relevant. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's just the way his hands were placed. He turns his deck towards the camera and shows that the bottom card, after he shuffled, is a Fiery Flint.
Yes. Now, granted, the colors are the same, but being familiar with the cards as we are, and most TCG players are, you can clearly see the left card is a full art welder, and the card on the right, just by the fact that you can see next to his right thumb, you can see there's a text field. That is a Fiery Flint. That's not the same card.
Even if you're arguing that, even if you can't tell what cards they are, you can tell that one card is a full art, and the bottom card has the blue in the corner, and it's a half art trainer card.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And I'll be honest with you, I knew it was a Fiery Flint just because I can see the rock under it, and I know what it looks like. But it wasn't until I pulled the screen up.
Fire deck too,
It wasn't until I pulled the deck up right now during the stream that I can see the text field there by his right thumb. So I missed that until just now myself. But yeah, that's obviously an item card.
Right.
So what ends up happening is, I believe he got a 2-card penalty? 2 prize card penalty?
He got a 2 prize card penalty, which means his opponent only had to knock out 1 more Pokemon to win. And if he didn't win on that turn, he just lost.
Yes. So that essentially knocked him out of championship contention. Now,
Yep. So he lost the game on the next turn. He would have had one more turn to play.
yeah,
If the 2 prize penalty had
which
been taken.
we don't know. We don't know if he would have won. We don't know if he would have bricked. We don't know, and there's no way of knowing. And that's part of the controversy with this, is there's a lot of people that are saying, well, he would have won. Well, we don't know that. It certainly didn't help. Didn't help at all.
He was on top deck mode. He needed to, draw into some cards to win.
Mm-hmm. Now, it's important to say that he's not out there bashing anybody. He did make one post, I believe it was on Twitter or Reddit, I'm not sure which, where he did say, yeah, I got hosed, and it's true, but he also isn't like, let's burn the Pokemon Company to the ground, get your torches, get your pitchforks, we're going to Japan. So he's being in a good sport about the whole thing. He understands that. When it comes to the judge, when you look at the cards, yeah, they're the same color. But if it comes down to the analogy in baseball where we have an umpire who they're making a split-second decision, and yeah, we're watching it replay after replay after replay from like 5 different angles, and this person's making a judgment call from one angle. They get one opportunity to do it. They don't get to go back and look at footage, and that's the scenario we have here, where this judge, he can't say, well, I think this might have happened. He's obviously going to say, yes, that's why I'm making the call, because I'm sure. And we've had many times where in other sports, other tournaments, a judge can make a mistake. It's not like there's people out there saying that this judge had it in for him, and he might have. I don't know. I don't know the man. But I think we have to give him the benefit of the doubt that maybe this was an honest mistake.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was probably an honest mistake. Everybody was tired at the end of the day.
This is like what, round
2 long days of.
And we're at what, round 9 at this point for the day?
That would have been like the 9th round of the day,
Yeah.
And then the previous day was 14 rounds.
Yeah, so everyone's exhausted. And the judges are there. Yes, judges do get a form of compensation, usually in the form of booster boxes, depending on what they do, how long they're there, and what have you. So, but they're not getting paid.
Right.
And a lot of times these venues are very hot, and the players, especially if you're unfortunate enough to get stuck with the juniors or seniors, you have not only the players that are angry over every single call, because every time you get called over, you're telling somebody they're right and somebody they're wrong. So at least you're going to get a lot of people that are not happy with you. Plus, if it's juniors and seniors, oftentimes you got the parents to deal with. So having those crisis intervention skills are very important to have if you're going to be a Pokemon judge. But so we've got somebody who's been dealing with this for days. So you got the judges stressed out, you got the players stressed out. These things are going to happen. It's not. I have a real hard time leaping to the conclusion that this judge was like, I'm going to get this guy.
Right. And it's unfortunate that the judge's ultimate final call was wrong. And somebody reviewed it, and also, because it was disputed, somebody looked at the footage and also said, yeah, this is wrong. Now, I don't think you can change the call they made. I think Nathaniel has to just deal with the call. That's it.
Yeah.
But you can punish the judges, but you can't reward the player.
Right.
And the same thing would happen in a baseball game or a football game. They don't go back and replay the game.
No. They
that is the ruling that is forever made in history, and everybody's like, well, that game was a dud game. We can't picture that. That's not an actual representation of who would have won and lost.
Right. And even if we somehow jumped in the Wayback Machine, went back, and reversed this call, we still don't know if he would have won. It's possible, but we don't know, and there's no way to know. Now, there's some people saying, well, maybe Pokemon ought to just give him an invitation to Worlds. Maybe from a public relations standpoint, that might be the way to go, but when you look at the rules, everything was done properly. So I don't think that that's actually something they can do. Or we're going to have disputes on everything.
Exactly. Every player's going to want to go to Worlds when the judge makes a bad call.
And judges are going to make bad calls. My son's first regionals down in Roanoke, he got hosed, and he got hosed bad. The young lady he was playing against, I saw what happened because he was close enough to the edge of the table, and I could, from the parents' corral, I could see, and the boy got hosed. All I said was to the judge, because I will not get involved and argue with him. I'd say, you need to review this. And then part of what happened was during the review, the judge actually ended up shuffling one of the decks, so he completely destroyed the game state at that point. And then both players got issued a warning, and he ended up losing the game because of it. And afterwards, I just had a conversation with him. I said, "Listen, I'm a judge too. I understand." I go, "This is what happened," and he's like, "I don't not believe you, but there's no way to look it up." And I said, "I understand, totally understand." And he was very cool about it. He came over, he talked to my son, and helped him understand because he was very upset. And it ended up working out. Obviously, he didn't win the regionals, but we don't know. He may still have lost the game. We don't know. And with baseball, it's the same way. We can say, well, the Orioles would have won if it hadn't been for that umpire. We think. We've got an inclination. We'd like to think that our team would have won, but we don't know. And I think that's the same situation we're running into with Pokemon. So, in my opinion, I don't think they can do anything to compensate the kid, because the judgment has to be made there. We can't go back and review everything weeks later. We just can't do it. So.
Yeah, so I think it stands, and that's just going to be forever marked as a bad call in history.
And it's unfortunate because now that judge is going to have that follow him, and it's so what Pokemon does. They don't pick him for major events again. Well, he made one simple mistake, possibly. So, or do you let him back in, and then every player who has him as a judge going forward is like, you're that guy.
Yeah, I think you probably just don't have him judging any big events for a while.
Yeah, maybe give him a year or so off. That being said, did you put in to be a judge at Worlds this year?
I did not.
Okay, I submitted my application. I hope, fingers crossed. I was going to be there anyway. I'm going down as a spectator, so that's going to be in Washington D.C.
I'll be there too.
I've seen a lot of people trying to clarify some stuff online, so I'm going to take an opportunity to talk about that for a moment. So, World Championships. That is typically when TCG rotation happens, is the day after Worlds, correct? This year, that's not the case. It happens a couple days before Worlds, where a lot of people are making a mistake, and myself included at first, is points start accumulating tomorrow, July 1st, for the 2020 season. So a lot of people are thinking, oh, that's when rotation is. Well, it's not when rotation is. Rotation's actually a couple days before Worlds. And the points reset, though, is July 1st, 2019, for the 2020 season. You plan on having any, making a bid for Worlds for 2020, Jeremy?
I want to. I'm hoping between our two leagues, and then that'll leave 2 travel weeks a month that we can go out and go to other events.
Yeah, we need to get you guys league challenge status.
Yeah, we're working on it.
For those of you in the let's say Eastern Seaboard, in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, in November, we are hosting a large League Cup at a comic convention in Gettysburg, hosted at Gettysburg College. It's going to be called Gettysburg Link Con. Look it up on social media. And as times get closer, you're going to hear me talking about it more and more. Jeremy, you're going to judge at my League Cup, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you're going to... Oh, I have a couple other judges there's like, but I want to play, which that's a big problem for me, too, because I want to play in all my events. Like, we had an awesome League Challenge for the premiere of Detective Pikachu at a movie theater, and I really wanted to play in that one. But, unfortunately, you can't, because you have to be the judge. But Do you have anything else you want to cover today?
No, that's probably good for this week.
Okay. Do you have anything you want to plug?
Not yet, but I am working on YouTube. I have a more professional microphone than I have now coming in. I'm just waiting till that comes in the mail to start recording.
It doesn't say. It's not the most horrible microphone I've ever heard. Not that mine's anything going to be used on stage anytime soon. For those of you that
audio quality should improve in the future.
So, those of you that are interested, this is my Twitch channel, my personal Twitch channel, and I stream the Pokemon trading card game online on a regular basis. I'm also going to do some walkthroughs for old school, Game Boy Color type games, and I'm also going to possibly do some Poke 1. I know it's a dirty word in some circles. And then we'll, everything Pokemon, any Pokemon game, you can look for it on my channel. So if you like, pop over there. And if you like what you just heard today, go ahead and give this channel a follow. It helps greatly as we march forward towards our affiliate status. And you're going to see more and more of the podcast. We're not sure if it's going to be weekly or bi-weekly yet. But it's probably not going to be on the weekends. We're going to get to a regular schedule here soon. We just wanted to do our first episode today because we've both been chomping at the bit now for a few weeks. Jeremy actually has been chomping at the bit for several years, from my understanding. And he finally ran into me, so we decided to get this done. So at this time, we're going to go ahead and end the podcast. But if you stick around on Twitch, we'll go ahead and open up the chat for questions and answers here on the Mount Moon Review podcast. Thank you for watching.
Thank you. Bye.